Everybody, it is April 2nd, 2025. And once again, this is the first segment. This is the first working segment. I did my introduction, which will tell you what we're doing. It's easy. You don't even just look at what you want and be happy. This is, you can see there's a brush. I think it was $1.50. Just so you can see, and you can see my gouache in the background. I don't know if you can see it back there on that white shelving in the background, way back in front of that red curtain. So you know I'm not using gouache because you're going to be freaked out. You're going to be so surprised at what you can do with just regular, very low grade, student grade. So let's just start with our blue. Okay, and I don't want to do everything, show you everything. You just have to trust me. I have my container of water. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you. Any plastic container of water, just get ready to do some washing and cleaning when you finish. If you don't, mom, dad, or guardian is going to be upset. Why wouldn't they? Okay, if you're not in a situation, there's always going to be someone that wants you to clean up, because if you live in civilization and you work in art, you got to be ready to clean up after yourself. You can't expect someone else to do it. That's one of the issues I had in art class, was that I need the principal and the administrative staff to back me up on that. And they don't. I ended up cleaning up after the kids, which the main thing they're learning, the kids, the young adults and the children and the teenagers that I work with in the school system need to learn more than anything else, the spirit of teamwork and camaraderie and contributing. And they weren't learning. The thing is that, let me just stop talking, because then I have administrators even now to this very day that will say, yeah, it's because you were a terrible classroom manager. And I can't argue. I mean, if it wasn't working, it wasn't working. But I will say that while I've been talking, look at the clouds I got. Look at the sky. Now what we're going to do is take that same, here's the colors that we got. All I used was a blue. All I used, and let's just go like this and put this up because it's wet, and I didn't think I guess I'll get some paper, a couple of nice, inexpensive but absorbent paper towels. I wish I could show you something pretty, but they were already used for other painting projects yesterday, but they're still good. So and they're not dirty; they're just a creative mess. So I'm reusing them after they dry out, and then we'll buy another roll when we're good and ready. Because it's not about how much you spend; it's about how much you don't spend. And it's not even about that. It's just about me stopping talking and creating. And the last final element of this is just the bare minimum of instruction. So you see the watercolors. I am now, I don't know. It's kind of hard. It's been a while, but let's just take a green. We're going to dip it in green and then dip it in red and kind of get a greenish red. It's kind of a brownish greenish red. So it's kind of an Appalachian color as opposed to a Rocky Mountain color. And get it nice and wet and a whole bunch of it to the extent that you can really just go like this. Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah Valley. And you can sing, or if you don't want to sing and you're embarrassed to sing, keep a song in your mind while you do it, because music is very inspiring towards the creative factor when you do art. And that's let's take some blue. Now I see that I can really go to town a little bit. So I'm going to take some blue and mix it with the green, because if you've ever been to the Appalachian Mountains, Smoky Mountains, North Carolina, this kind of area, you will find, look how much, by the way, I'm not making a mess. All I'm doing is getting plenty of water mixed with the pigment so I can really work with it. So in the distance, the further back it goes, the more they fade. So every time I do a brush like that and I apply a layer, I come back and I blend and fade. Now I'm using watercolor paper, but you can even get that at 99-cent stores. It's not as good as what I've got, and what I've got isn't even not that great. Everything's pretty much student grade this morning. Okay, Now that's all I want you to do for this. Well, you know what? Let me just really tie it up. In the background, so now I've decided the light's going to be coming from this way. You have to make a decision on that because, but you know, really all I wanted you to do is what I did right there. But at the same time, I kind of want you to, those that are a slight bit more advanced might be getting bored. So I would say, yeah, the light's coming from the background, and the next color back, okay, because we're going to go back in the distance now, and the next color back is going to be more water and less pigment. Which, when you do that, more water and less pigment, it becomes. So that was a lot of pigment and not enough water. So, but with watercolor, you can adjust that. So we adjust. Okay, so in the background you have mountains. I don't want to go any longer because I'm not comfortable with videos that last this long. But the final thing, I guess, what I'll do is just, you know, you could take like an hour and really do a beautiful painting. I'm taking like 5 minutes and feeling really bad that, you know, that 5 minutes isn't enough to do a really finished piece. I mean, we're going to do something that okay, something like that. And then you're going to take your big brush. You know what? Let's do a little bit of branches. Let's just really have a good time this morning before we sign off, which is you're going to give me some brown green with a little blue. And aren't I sophisticated about my description of color? Brown green with a little blue. But that's what you're going to do. That's basically what you're going to do. And you're just going to pretend like you're growing along with that tree. That's all. Okay, now that you've done that, all I want you to do is take the large brush, dip it in, and you can spatter. People love to spatter, but the problem is people don't love to clean up. A lot of times what I'll have is people spatter, and then they're like, well, yeah, I spattered, and now I got to go to math. Have fun cleaning up, Mr. Listokin. And I'm like, you're not learning. The main thing you have to learn, as I said when we first started out, was how to clean up after yourself when you do art, because it's a privilege to do the art and to sit in a room where you have air conditioning in a country where we provide you with comfort and food and air conditioning, and appreciate that you're could be in a much worse place. And I think one of the problems with children becoming very, very angry, there's so much anger out there. You know, come on, that I'm right. There's so much anger out there because the kids, the students and the young adults a lot of them are saying, you know, how is he going to come into my classroom when I'm living in a homeless shelter? And a lot of kids are, or situations that are really, really, you know, it's like people want to say, oh, no, I don't want to know anything about that. Everything's okay. Everything, as long as we get our Title IX money, which I believe is, I have to look it up and verify, but there's an aspect of the Constitution that guarantees all children, young adults, and teenagers, and everybody under 18 a free and appropriate education. But, you know, anytime you have laws, those laws get convoluted by people who want money for specific other special interests that they're not telling you about. So the kids end up losing. It's not about losing money. What it's really about is using the money to teach the kids right and wrong in conjunction with art. I don't know about other subjects, but I would say in terms of in conjunction with art, the right and wrong that you learn is not only right and wrong, but also the fun that you can have talking to each other in a positive way about each other's work. And I had a principal, the last school I worked, part of the process is taking the kids up in the hallway and having critiques and talking to each other in an honest but positive way about the artwork so that they learn positive but honest, assertive but positive but honest communication skills, which is really what it's about. It's not about the art. The art could be a way to learn those skills. And the principal came up and yelled at me, but he did it. He did it in a, like he took one of the paras aside and said, "Make sure he never does that again." And the para took me aside, and I said, "You know what? I knew it right then. It was going to be a losing battle. So I'm trying to fight the battle of instilling positive communication skills in my students through the public sector, which is YouTube, which really, ultimately, if you know right from wrong, and you want to teach children and young adults positive communication skills, it doesn't matter where you do it, when, how, or, all that matters is you're trying to do that. Okay, on that note, which music is next, because we're not going to get to the gouache today. We'll get to it some other time, but we have our brushes now in our Brooklyn studio. On that note, no pun intended, because I'm going to do a music video next. We will call this one, once you're really, really sure that you're ready to clean up, and I'm going to clean up. Cleanup's easy. I'm not going to do that for you today. I may do one just on cleanup, because I've had it seen where it's just literally to the point in our schools where kids, it can be fun, teamwork. Okay, let me be quiet. This is my signature. Everybody say signature. Okay, so there you have it. I could do better if I had longer, and I will at some point. This is called Spanish moss in springtime. To be continued, May 2nd. I'm sorry. To be continued, May 2nd, 2025.